Good morning, February Boy here. Got a video about something that's probably going to be controversial, but I don't really care anymore. So here's the deal. We have issues with morality in this country. One of the my biggest worry and complaints is pedophiles. Pedophiles, they get a slap on the wrist, go to jail, get right back out, do the same thing over and over again. So we have a problem there. Something's got to be done about it. We got legislators who they're worrying about other stuff. They ain't worrying about stuff like that, which is wrong. The problem's not just with the pedophiles, the people that are doing sex trade and everything else, and all this other stuff going on in this country. We need to save our children. Our children need to be protected, and they're not being protected. I'll tell you one reason why they're not being protected. Is probably where people are going to throw a fit at me, but I don't really care. Okay, we're banning books because there's things in books that they don't think the kids would read that actually we read when we were kids. So I don't understand that. And then there's banning of some musics now because they don't think kids should be listening to it. The problem is not those things are not the problem. The problem is pornography. It is so easy. It is so easy for a child to get on line and start watching pornography. Pornography is shouldn't be. That should be banned. If you want to ban something, ban that. Of course, these senators and congressmen are not going to do that because they probably get money from that, just like they get money from everything else. You know, I look back on some of the records of some of these politicians, and this was 2 years ago, so it's probably even worse now. There was 97 Democrats, Republicans, both, that owned stock in pharmaceutical. Do you not believe that's a conflict of interest? I kind of do. I really believe there's a conflict of interest there. Not only do they own stock in pharmaceutical, they own stock in oil. Conflict of interest. They own stock in guns. The makers, the gun makers. Conflict of interest. So why are we letting these people that we vote in have the right to go and buy stocks and things that we're supposed to be legislating on right at the moment, which we're not, because they're so busy trying to see who they can kill or get rid of and everything else. They're not worried about what's going on for the people. They say they're for the people. They're not for the people. They're for themselves. They're greedy bastards. And as long as you guys keep on voting for all these greedy bastards, you're going to have this problem. There is so much greed in Washington, it's pitiful. These people need to be taken down. And if they don't start helping these kids instead of worrying about their right to bear arms, it's in the Constitution. They have the right to bear arms. What are you arguing about it for? Why are we even still talking about it? What is the problem? I don't understand. That is so stupid, it just don't make sense. It's just something they got to talk about all the time, which I don't really care. You have a right to bear arms. That is in the Constitution, and so be it. So we don't need to argue about stuff like that. We need to fix things that are going on right now. And I'm telling you right now, morality is a problem. You don't teach, for one thing, when a kid goes to a public school, you don't teach kids about the Bible. You don't teach because you're not shouldn't, because there's other kids in there that are other religions, and so unless you're going to figure out a way to teach everybody, It doesn't belong to you to teach. It belongs for the parents at home to take care of that problem. Sex education needs to be taken care of by their parents at home, not by the schools. I mean, unless you're teaching a biology class or something like that, that's just not talking about sex itself, but talking about the anatomy, that's understandable because that's biology. But when you're telling your kids that you need to wear condoms, you need to do this, you have no right. That is not none of your business. That belongs to the parents. The parents that's the ones that need to be doing that, not the schools. The government needs to stay the hell out of people's business. They need to not bother us with anything because you know what? I've been around a long freaking time. I voted both sides of the aisle, so I'm not just one-eyed person. I do vote different all the time. But I'm going to tell you right now, the problem in kids are my problem. I have grandkids. I have great grandkids. I want to change, and I want to change now. Let's see some gutsy stuff out of you greedy bastards there in Washington, and get rid of pornography. You go after Facebook, you go after TikTok, you go after Twitter, and you go after all these because you say they're infringing on your rights, your freedom of speech. Fine, I'm telling you, pornography is something that needs to be gone. It should not happen. It is so easily done nowadays. Used to be, people wanted to watch pornography, they had to go to an adult store and be embarrassed because they had to walk in there and get it. That's the way it should be now. Now they don't happen that way. You just go online and you start watching pornography. What the fuck's wrong with you people? Straighten it out. Kids are doing this too. And I'm sorry about my language, but this is something that really bothers me. Morality needs to be taught from your house, not from any public place, schools. Unless if you're taking your child to church, yes, that's where they need to learn morality too. And I'm not telling you to take your children to church. You don't have to take your kids to church. You can teach your kids the right and wrong and hope they do the right thing. But you're not getting any help from the government. They're not going to help you. They're useless. The government is so useless, it's pitiful. I mean, it is the worst thing I ever seen in my life. I mean, it's gotten worse and worse all the time. They're greedy. That's all they are, is greed. It's nothing but greed there. And you vote them in. You vote them in, and this is what you get. I don't care which side of the aisle you vote. They're all the same. When I looked at that list of people that owned stocks in pharmaceuticals and oil and everything, it's both sides of the aisle. What the hell? Conflict of interest. That's all I see in there. We got a problem. They shouldn't be allowed to buy stocks while they're in office. Their job is to help the people and not sit there and get rich. And most of them get richer and richer and richer off your dollar because that's what they do. They're all useless. And I don't care if people like what I've got to say about it. I don't really care because it's the truth. But morality needs to be taught at home, not by anybody else. The schools shouldn't be teaching it. The only ones that should teach it is the churches, if that's where you go. And if you don't, then teach it at home. I don't care if you go to church or not. That has nothing to do with it, But, you got to let the parents teach the kids the morality because they learn from their kids. They learn from their parents. If they have an ounce of morality in them, you'll know it when they get older. And so that's means that you did something right down the line. It might not have been very much, but even the little bit that you did right, it shows up in the adult kids that you got now. But now I got to worry about my grandbabies and my great grandbabies. I know I'm not going to be around much longer, so I need to speak out now. And even though this could irritate a lot of people, I don't really care. I really don't. But anyway, that's my save for today. Let's save the children, okay? That's my main goal. Let's save the children. If you like, comment, whatever you want to do here. Subscribe. This is February Roy signing off. Have a good day.